Live life so that you create good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so that you radiate good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so that you generate good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so as to emanate good vibes. The good vibes. Spread the message of your life with good vibes. With good vibes. With good vibes. Welcome to the Good Vibes podcast. Hey my friends, and welcome to this episode of the Good Vibes. I'm super excited that you are over here. Today we will continue on our journey of evolved learning. Evolved learning is when we learn from all the people in our lives and otherwise, all the things and experiences that we encounter. In general, we learn from life. So get pumped up now to feel alive with the good vibes. Hey my friends, and welcome to today's episode. We are back with Sohini. This is part 2 of our 3 series podcast. And in this one, we're going to talk about kindness. We ended the previous podcast telling you that Sohini values kind people more than smart people. No matter if you're an Einstein, she's going to still value someone with a warm heart, with a kind atmosphere around him or her. So let's talk about kindness, Sohini. Why kindness? Why do you like kind people?
So which is what we ended our last podcast with, is it's very easy to be fascinated by people who are really intelligent, who are very talented, who say smart things. But what really helps create sustainable relationships with people as well as your own self is being kind, compassionate, and empathetic. I think there's nothing in the world which is a substitute for these 3 qualities.
Wow. Yes.
And it is only when you're surrounded by people who are kind to you, who are supportive, who will reprimand you when you go wrong with good intentions, and who will give you a pat on the back when you achieve something, can you really grow.
Yes.
When you surround yourself with negativity, with people who might be really intelligent, who will give you perhaps good advice, who will perhaps inspire you to think in a more intelligent, more innovative way, but people who are negative, people who don't believe that you can, or don't believe that they can, number one, you can't create sustainable relationships with them. And number 2, you can't really grow surrounded by people who are really smart but negative.
Yes.
Okay? So that's to do with other people. You need to surround yourself with positivity and people who encourage you instead of putting you down. And that can only come through kindness and empathy.
Yeah. And what's your definition of kindness? Who's a kind person? What's your definition?
Right. So, a kind person is someone who believes and does good. So, it doesn't have to be some huge deal of constantly trying to eradicate problems of the world, kind of be a kind person. But a kind person is someone who is supportive without needing things in return.
Yes.
Who will push you up when you're feeling down, and will try to talk sense into you when you're feeling down also.
Yes.
So that's a kind person, and those are people you want to surround yourself with. But it's also important to be like a kind person yourself and be kind to your own self.
This is what I wanted to get to. This was my next question. We find it easier to be kind to other people somehow. When suppose we go out for an outing with a friend, and if the friend is low, we have the power within us to console the friend and be a kind person. We have it for the whole world, or in the sense, if needed, we can be kind to other people. Why do we find it difficult sometimes to be kind to ourselves when we most require it, like
True.
a best friend?
So I always realize that if my friend goes wrong somewhere, or that she or he did not achieve something they worked really hard for, I always I cut them the slack. That I give them the benefit of doubt also, that perhaps something went wrong, it wasn't their day, the circumstances weren't in their favor. I always cut them slack, give them motivation, and give them some kind words if they need it. Or just be there for them in case they want to share anything. But when it comes to cutting myself slack, it's always been more difficult.
Okay.
And that's also because I am in particular a very self-critical person, but that's not to say that this problem is very unique to me. I feel like most people would cut slack to people they love than cut slack for themselves.
So how?
And it's so that comes from setting standards for yourself. And although I believe that it's extremely important to set goals and standards for yourself which you want to achieve, and having timelines and plans, it's also important to realize that we're all human beings. And human beings slip up sometimes.
Yes.
And although it's easy to believe that you're superhuman sometimes and that you can do all of it, that's really bad for your mental health. Because you create this unnecessary pressure, which is unrealistic.
Yes.
And it's very important to be like, okay, I worked hard for something and I'm going to give it my best. But if it doesn't work out, I will learn and extract whatever I can possibly from this and move forward.
Yes.
Maybe feel sad for a bit, sulk for a day, complain to my friends and parents for some time, but have the energy to get back up and move forward.
Yes.
Because unless we do that and we keep beating ourselves up each time we fail or don't succeed to magnitude that we wished to, it's only counterproductive.
Yes,
And because I have struggled with that for years, I realize how much I could have done, which I didn't, because I spent time sulking and beating myself up for it. So take your time, feel bad for yourself. It's okay to feel sad sometimes. That's completely all right. But with the help of your friends, parents, or even your own self and general mindfulness, find the courage to get back up. Because unless that you can do that, it's only counterproductive.
So you say things to yourself. What do you tell yourself? Do you say, "Hey Sohini, it's okay"? Do you say things like this to yourself?
I actually do. I when I say tell yourself, I literally mean tell yourself.
Yes.
Just sit down, be mindful. For a minute, stop battling. For a minute, stop telling yourself that nothing is wrong. Realize that things might be wrong.
Yes.
And tell yourself that I will take a moment for only myself and put my mental health, put my sheer sanity before this thing I'm trying to achieve. Take a breath and realize that I might fail or I have failed. Okay? And then feel a little bad for yourself.
Okay.
And that's okay, because I do.
Yeah.
And then plan ahead.
Yeah.
Because realize that bad things have happened to you and bad things will happen to you, and you can't stop that.
Yes. Yes.
But the fact that you got up when a bad thing happened to you 2 years ago means that you can get up now, and means that you can get up 2 years later when a bad thing happens to you again. So take inspiration not from other people but from your own self and how much you have grown. So tell yourself that, you know what, I might fail / I have failed, but I have put my 100% and learned these 3 things, which I will take my experience of working hard and take these 3 things I have learned, put it together, and it's my superpower now. My failure is my superpower now.
Okay.
And I will take it ahead and achieve the next thing. And in case I can't achieve that one, I will learn 3 more things and add to my superpower.
Okay.
And I grow through the years.
Yes.
And one thing, I'd like to reiterate, as I said earlier, don't take inspiration from only people you see around you or TED Talks you watch on TV or friends who have done great things. Take inspiration also from yourself sometimes.
Wow.
Of that thing you overcame a week ago.
Yeah.
Which means you can overcome something now.
Sometimes we have done things which we couldn't have handled in the past.
Exactly.
But we handle it like pros.
Exactly.
And we don't give ourselves that credit that, hey, you've done this. I mean, it's a big thing for you. So that's what you're saying. Take inspiration from that.
Take inspiration from your own self. And as you said, I love that. Take credit for what you have achieved. And I will again say, it's not selfish to take care of yourself. Okay, and I'm not saying be pompous or become arrogant of everything you achieve and be like, you know what, I did this and I have achieved optimum. Because the moment you think you've achieved optimum, it's over for
You
you.
won't go ahead.
It's over.
Yes.
So appreciate others who achieve, appreciate yourself when you hit a personal or a measurable milestone, but don't think it's the all and end all, and which is when you have to achieve the balance of how much to appreciate others and yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Really amazing, Sohini. Nice talk. And I read somewhere that to be kind or to emanate peacefulness or kindness to others or love to others, you need to first give yourself that.
Okay. Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Means suppose you have people around you and you want to wish them peace. I read that first you should do that to yourself. I mean, wish yourself peace, feel peaceful, and then it comes out. And I even felt it to a degree. What do you say?
Okay, so that works for some people. That quotation that to love others, you need to love yourself, seems logical, right? That you need to be there for yourself first, and then you can have the energy to be there for other people. But sometimes it's very hard to love yourself. And don't let that make you bitter.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So although it's important to hold on to this quote which says love yourself so you can love other people, it's also important to realize that in those times when you don't love yourself, it's still important to be kind. And not be bitter.
Be the best you can be still.
Exactly. So
I mean, what you're saying is when you do that, when you love yourself first and then do it, it comes out more maybe. But it's not to say that be bitter if you're feeling bitter. That's what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take your time. It's again.
There's
it's
no pressure
not
to
selfish to take your time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you feel that you aren't at your best, or if you feel that you're feeling down and you can't give people the heart that you usually give them, try to minimize interaction. Try to minimize the damage you make. Because if you think you might be bitter, never ever inflict the pain that you are feeling upon other people.
Yes.
Share your concerns. Talk to your friends. Talk to your parents. Create an environment of sharing. But don't inflict your pain on other people.
Yeah.
So,
just because you're feeling bad,
yes,
you don't need to make someone else
feel bad also.
Yeah.
So be mindful of that. Be mindful of the problems that you're facing and try to solve them. But be also mindful of the problems other people might be facing. Yes. So always be kind to other people even when you're not being kind to yourself and you're working on being kind to yourself.
Yes.
That's important.
Yes. So kindness is the virtue that you go on living your days with.
Absolutely.
And also tell me about this yardstick that we use to give ourselves the credit. Sometimes we say only if I do this, or only if I'm better than so and so, only if I achieve this and this can I give myself love. Shouldn't love and kindness to ourselves be unconditional? Why is it? Yeah.
It definitely should be unconditional, but it's also very important to set goals and achieve them. Without that, you are just wandering in life aimless. So it's very important to have drive, number one. Number two, I agree, comparison and creating yardsticks is very unhealthy. But it's also important to realize that competition, when healthy, competition when teaching you new things about yourself and other people, competition which inspires you to get better, is the best kind of competition.
Yes.
And it's the best thing that can happen to you.
Yes.
So if somebody doing better than you is inspiring you to better yourself, that's fantastic competition. But if somebody doing better than you is making you feel bad about yourself or where you are in life at that moment of time, that's unhealthy. It's time to be mindful. It's time to be mindful, and it's time to dismantle that yardstick for a minute and only put it back when you can be inspired and not demotivated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this again reminds us of being unconditionally kind. I mean, we shouldn't be kind just if we do this. There shouldn't be a if or a but.
Yeah.
It should just be kind.
Exactly.
And like you said, take your time. If you're not feeling the best, give yourself the slack.
Yeah.
Tell yourself it's okay to not feel kind and move on. And you also told me that you should be mindful of who you are and Don't try to be bitter to other people. Even if you are not feeling good, share. Don't impart. I mean,
Don't inflict the pain
don't
that you are
inflict
feeling.
the pain. Share the pain. I mean, share it. Of course, someone can give you some kind words to move on. So the goal is ultimately to keep moving on.
Exactly.
And moving on in a loving and kind manner. The best way to live life according to you.
True.
True. So that was part 2 with Sohini. Really inspiring, and I hope you can feel the kind energy from our side, which we hope that you feel and you spread, because we need kind people. We need the kind energy that will inspire all of us to grow and get better. So that was part 2, my members, my friends, my listeners. I'll meet you again in part 3, where we will talk about something new. Meet you until next time. Spread the message of your life with good vibes. With good vibes.